From McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, this is their Tim Drake Robin. They did do two versions of this Robin. One has black gloves, a little bit more black in the costume overall, that's the variant. This is the standard release, this was Tim Drake's original Robin costume. I do kind of like it when there's a little bit more black involved, but at the same time, this is the Tim Drake I was able to get. And if you don't know who Tim Drake is, he is the third Robin. Just looking at the box, it looks very nice here in the front. Just the name here on the side, this is very specifically from the Robin Reborn storyline. Here he is on the back. I'm just gonna say, you look at that, you think Tim Drake is like the ultimate edgelord. He's not! He's actually the smart, nerdy one out of the Robins. And then over here, same thing. So yeah, pretty good looking box. Let's go ahead and open it up. Getting this guy out of the packaging, and he looks great. I really do enjoy this. And it helps that the Tim Drake Robin costume is kind of the Robin costume. You know, we've kind of moved away from the green Speedo. I think when a lot of people think of a modern Robin outfit, they do typically think of Tim. And going alongside that, I know I've already said it, but Tim basically is the most famous Robin in terms of his time as Robin. And if you don't count Dick Grayson's tenure as Nightwing, you can make the argument that he's just the most well-known out of all of Batman's sidekicks. Now granted, Dick Grayson, he was the first Robin, he's the Robin almost everyone thinks of, he became Nightwing. But I think a lot of people's love for Dick Grayson comes from his years as Nightwing. Whereas Tim Drake, he's only ever been Robin, aside from the few years he was Red Robin. Alongside that, he's the second most adapted Robin. So, for instance, he was in Batman the Animated Series, he's the Robin from the Lego Batman games, he's in the Arkham games, he was one of the many Robins that they kind of all mushed together to make the Teen Titans cartoon Robin, which is why his costume looks the most like the Teen Titans cartoon Robin. So, what I'm basically trying to say is, for a lot of people, he is the main Robin, and it's because of him that Batman didn't go, well, insane after Jason Todd died. A lot of people have been really excited to get a proper Tim Drake in the Multiverse line, so I do want to give proper respect to his character, but now let's actually focus on the figure. First thing I'll say is I adore the head sculpt. I love it when they actually give the figures expressions. This sneer, even though it's not the expression I think of when I think of Tim Drake, it definitely works. And it does get across that this isn't Dick, this isn't a jokey Robin, this is a little bit more of a grounded guy. That's great in keeping with the fact that when Dick and Tim hang out, they are the best of friends, they are literally like brothers, and it usually amounts to Dick is the cool older brother, Tim is the responsible younger brother. Looking through the rest of the costume, sculpted detail throughout, you can see how this costume is supposed to be a little bit more armored, look a little bit more like Kevlar. Paint and sculpting throughout is just wonderful. No big complaints when it comes to the small details. Even in terms of the bigger picture, this figure is great. So you have a ball joint at the head, you have a universal here at the shoulder, you have an upper arm cut, double jointed elbow. It does look a little bit weird just because, you know, human arm with pins, but hey, figures. You got a universal at the wrist, you have a good diaphragm joint along with a good waist swivel. Works well enough. You have a universal at the hip, you have a double jointed knee, you have a really weird foot setup, to be honest. So you can swivel, and it's up and down, and you got the toe. I've not seen many Multiverse figures that actually have this kind of foot design, and it does give his feet a very weird shape, especially when you take his toe into consideration. I don't know why, it's kind of off-putting to me. At the same time, it's the feet. Who's going to be looking there? I know Dick Grayson is my favorite DC character. Nightwing, my favorite guy. But that doesn't mean I dislike Tim. I love every member of the Bat family, and this Robin really is something special. I think the accessories, the paint, and the sculpting all go to make this one of the best Tim Drake figures ever made. My only major complaint? The Batarang does not properly fit into his hands. The hand is a little bit too big, you can't get to sit in there comfortably. You can kind of make it coax there, but that's the best you can really do. So, maybe if this hand was a little bit more equipped for the Batarang, you would lose my only real complaint with the figure. Otherwise, I think it's an incredibly solid addition to the shelf, and it just fell as I'm praising it. The figure is good, feet and Batarang notwithstanding.